cloud forest blanketing a remote corner of northeastern Peru, a row of stone burial houses are perched high above a lake. Tucked into a ledge on a limestone cliff 100 meters above the Lagunas de los Condors, the structures stood untouched by humans for almost 500 years. Although the farmhands who had discovered the burial site in late 1996 churned through most of the tombs, slashing mummy bundles with machetes and destroying valuable pottery, weavings, and offerings, the more than 200 mummy bundles and a wide array of burial offerings were found and rescued. Our adventure to the cloud forest leads us to those discoveries. We 12 hardy souls begin our adventure in Lima, Peru.
We have it. We have the gringo Americans trying to figure out what a dollar is, what a soul is, or is it just another one of them cheap poker games? Here's a picture of Mikey and Jennifer before they start looking like shit.
Hey, what we do will still look as good as you.
And there we have Mr. Benoist, looking as good as ever. Say hola.
Hola.
Okay, so there you have it. The shit's hit the fan. Luggage is all over the place. We're going to get on some prop job that's going to nowhere. And maybe, just maybe, this shit will end up where it's supposed to be. But you'll have to wait till the next chapter when the saga continues.
Well, we finally got a solution to the luggage restriction. Since we couldn't check all the luggage, we wound up putting a third of it on the plane and sending the rest of it in a van to be delivered hopefully to Lamy Bamba with our driver. Oh, what a fiasco. Well, we made it through security and finally boarded our plane to Caramarca.
You can see this is the inside of the plane. There's John, king of the sardines. As you can see, there's lots of action going on in here. And as you can really see, this is a faraway shot of Mikey, of which you can't tell, but he's not exactly in anything, but so here we've got it. They finally decided that we're not the Sierra Club, but we'll do. They're going to load the vans, and we're going to head out to Soledad. And this is a ride through the center of Calamarca. You can see it's very colorful. There's a lot going on. It's quite a hustling and bustling place. And of course the traffic is horrendous. Lots of street vendors, lots of hustle and bustle, lots of bad air. Downtown, there we are in downtown Calamarca. It's Calamarca Square, hustling and bustling. Nice and green. Lots of people busy. And of course, here we zoom in on the ugly group. The Americanos.
Turista.
The Turismos.
Oh,
Turistas. Here we are, finally arrived.
Let's tell them what we think about the roads.
We're at Celadon.
Yeah, the roads are something else.
Could you please tell me what you think about the room, little lady?
Beech nut is one of my favorite colors.
And there comes Richard, looking like warmed over death.
Warmed over shit.
Sleeping, guy.
And how is your room, Richard?
Our room is great. Our room is great.
How's Linda?
She's getting better. She didn't take a second.
Car sick?
She didn't take a second meclizine. She should have had one about 7.
Tell her to have a pisco sour. That'll straighten her out. There we have Inga consuming her morning rations of mango. Here we are on the second floor. Celadon Lodge. Yes, and there's Richard. Arising in the morning. Yes, he looked better yesterday.
Save the day of Levi's day.
Oh, yes. He has on his old Jewish socks.
Not even Jewish.
Do us a little jig.
That's what his varicose veins.
How's that?
Don't quit your day job. Tourists having their morning coffee, surprise juice, caleches. And there's Mikey, still waiting on his second cup of coffee.
I got my second cup. You didn't get your second.
I've only ordered it 6 times now, no big deal.
We said goodbye to the Saladin Lodge and back into the vans headed out of town, across the Cordillera mountain range to Lamy Bamba.
Well, there we have it. We're on the side of the mountain, looking down at Siladon.
That church here stands out, doesn't it? Right in the plaza, right in the middle.
Right in the middle of the plaza is the big blue church.
We can miss them over there, that one over there.
And off to the right of it, you got the sports dome. It's where they have the burro races. So now we've crossed to the other side of the mountain.
Exactly. So we pass a
We're in the summit
I just
and we're shooting into the next valley.
I wanted to. I'm trying to get.
So the next peak you're seeing over there belongs to Ukto.
The next peak over there belongs to Uto.
With the cattle, looking after the cattle up to the peak, because his family, belong on a small property, for grazing. Can you imagine, that, 10 years old, boy, getting all your cows up there so hard? To the next peak, I mean the other one. We had to go so far, just, to pasture the animals.
Wow.
We go all that line. All that line you're seeing. Yeah. We go all that line.
Okay, so there you have it. We got a new tape, same gringos. Now they're drinking. This is what they call a facility. Yeah, they're...
A restaurante.
Yes, a restaurante. They happen to be on their first level of alcohol, so there's still not a lot of fun. But things should improve.
Really, really cold. That yellow Inca stuff.
Here we are in the Lele Bamba area. Finally in the green.
The next morning we started off on a new adventure, but first stopped by a friend's farm where two families had dairy cows. Together their cows produced about 150 liters of milk a day. They sell it for 72 cents a liter. That's less than 1 sol a liter, which isn't very much, but when you calculate it, it's about $50 a day split between two families, which in Peru is a great income. Next, we began what became affectionately known as the 1,000-mile hike.
There's our wonderful host,
I give you a cheetah.
who after he was pissed off, came around and made it up with his cousin. Thank you, host. Wonderful, beautiful day. About 68 degrees, 9,200 feet. Here we have another crossing into another field. Another slash and burn area to reestablish the vegetation that's natural, to ease the drought. Smile, honey. Say hi to the camera.
Hi, camera.
Our guide has invited us into his casa. Typical adobe. Of course, the gringos are in his main entryway. Completo with agua.
En baño.
And
Quiero shower del baño.
this is El Moderno Casa. And there we have the kitchen. The señorita.
This is the bathroom that is made. New guests.
A couple years from now, this is going to be turned into a tourist destination.
Yes, he said so.
One of them no-star hotels. And fresh petroglyphs.
A un pequeño caserío que van a pasar ustedes por allá por se llama San Cristóbal. Van a bajar por ahí por la de la Congona y van a bajar ahí.
This is our host.
So he wants. Wow. We will see the way, we will see another, like water
Son 8 kilómetros que tienen.
8 kilometers far from here. Because that's our way back, from La Congona, from the fancy way down, till the next very rustic buildings that you are seeing ahead. Those are, the Molinete site. The first one we'll see.
Monieta site on Far Ridge. That's where we're headed. You can see the archaeology hut over there for excavation. Well, we finally reached the top of the first site. Mostly a bunch of walls overgrown with eucalyptus. A few stray dogs. And of course, it's been taken over by the local residents' cattle. Now we finally reached the center of the city with the entry door. The tomb of the unknown Chacapoyan.
Yeah. ¿Qué hacemos? ¿Nos metemos más o ya salimos o a regresarnos? Well, present just to come back, you know, bordering the, you know, the visible area. Right? Yeah. Well,
Of course, this being our first run, everyone is starstruck by it. Another week they'll be going, oh shit, another ruin, another pile of rocks. It would appear that the entire side of the mountain here is a sequence of these rounded buildings which were probably their homes. And they interconnect and just continue to round and round, and they have at the top these cantilevered stones that appear to be some kind of watershed to keep the building from disintegrating. Okay, we climbed up to the next peak, overlooking the last peak. We have the other ruin, same kind of overgrowth, same kind of walls, 9,700 feet. I think it was a puffer. You can see the jungle's overgrown this entire Chachapoyan ruin. You can see a few big walls, remnants of the round houses. Mostly just 600 years of growth over an ancient city.
Right. Yeah, they don't know. They haven't.
Well, here I am up another 50 feet into the third level of the ruin. As you can see, it's totally overgrown. Hard to see, make out any walls at all. But we have a few that we can pick out. This is the very top of the city. Totally unexcavated. Totally left for 600 years. Well, the troops are gonna go to the top.
let's go to the top then. Finish it. Let's try.
Gonna get a piece of the sun. Try and get out of the jungle and the bugs.
Look, a cistern. Let's sacrifice it here.
I'm coming around to Mikey. He's got something to say.
Which way, Larry?
Up, Mikey, up!
They're not real guides.
How about Rita? Hey, what?
I need somebody to follow.
Here in front of me I have another opening. It goes into another storage area below one of the big houses up on top. You can see back in that it's all rocked inside. Very small.
You know what's going to happen to you, John?
Here we have another wall in the Inca city. You can see by the size of the people. And this one, unlike the others, still have the decoration in the top, symbolizing symbols. Some archaeologists say it's a snake, some say it's a jaguar.
No.
Some of them say it's just symbols.
The latest, you know, meaning I heard from one author was, you know, that this zigzag line, you know, has something to do. It's going to represent a worship, you know, for a snake. I don't mean a snake, but, you know, I mean what the snake, you know, represent. So, you know, the call for water worship, I mean. You guys, you know,
And you heard it here on KWYYY. There you have it. You're looking at the cloud forest we just came out of that had the entire Inca city in it. You can see a couple of small walls, but mostly it's all covered by the growth. 9,700 feet, day 4. We're on a high ridge after leaving our last Chacopaya city. We're now at 9,300 feet. Every direction we look is just a picture postcard. North, south, east, and west. In front of me is the mountain we came off of with the city. You see the trail coming down. I'm doing a full 180 so you can really get it. Okay, we moved out of the lower level. We're into the big part of the city now. You can see the walls stretching in front of me. Up on the top, like always, that's where the big kahuna lives. Well, there you have it. We made it to the top of La Congona. The big house on the big hill. Look up, gringo.
Gringo, look up. We got you, Gringo.
You got little feet.
Big stairs. And as you can see, everywhere from here is just a spectacular view. Across the way we can see what looks to be like possibly a century's house.
Wow. What's this for?
That's a refrigerator.
I'll take that, bud.
And straight up from that,
That's the elevator.
you can see the second city that we were at. A big clump of trees up on top. That was the one that we were at just previously. And if you go off to the left, that was the first ruin of the day. This will be our last ruin of the day. Then we have a hike down into Lelebamba.
In the early morning, our muleteers arrived with our 14 horses, 12 for our group and ones for Araceli and Alicia, our archaeology guides, plus 7 pack animals. Our 21 horse and mule brigade was quite a sight caravanning through the town. You should have seen it. It was amazing. We began what was the most incredible horse ride any of us have ever experienced. 9 hours in the saddle through vast terrain, rolling farmland, a rock forest, high Andean jungle, on the roughest, steepest paths that barely constituted trails, up to 11,000 feet and back down again, finally to our archaeologist hut we called home in the cloud forest. It was amazing.
Well, here we are in the jungle. 9,700 feet riding the trail. Right now I'm the lead horse, or I should say the lead mule.
So, in 45 minutes to pass all that way and to start, climbing up the peak. And I don't know if the peak is going to be, nice place for picnic, for men. Okay. Let's see, Here. For sure we'll get the wind. We'll get the wind as always. So, close to the area.
We're tough.
Yeah, well. Yes.
Okay, turn around, Dinga.
Yes, I will. I'm standing
Look at our new
next to
shoes.
Mikey. We got new shoes.
Here's a couple of really
The shoes.
New hiking boots.
The only way to go in Peru. The one and only way.
Yes, here we are crossing into the next ranch. 10,390 feet. Looks like we got some little waterfall.
We're still at 10,000?
Oh yeah.
Don't run over me. I'm down here. You can go around, but not over.
Don't mess with the film crew, lady.
Well, I hope they get paintbrush.
Well, here we are at the Ponderosa.
Yeah.
For the ride back, yeah. Feed me,
You missed the room allocations. How's your lumens, Larry? Can you see inside the room?
No.
I took a couple of pictures and
Here's the kitchen area. And the dining room, and now you can see the vast rainforest. All directions from us. Tall stone cliffs. What do you think?
Feed me, feed me.
Mangoes right off the tree.
Mangoes right off the tree.
The most incredible.
Tell us about these mangoes.
Hey, Mike, which tree?
The
mango tree.
the mango. The bamba.
Now we're getting
to the bathroom. I think
the explanation of where the baños are.
You know, anytime you ask, you know, this.
You walk through the cattle field and right up that little trail, and it's a two-holer. Anytime you want.
Kind of, you know, how do you call it? It's kind of damaged. So it's
Watch the
for,
cow pies.
You know, all used. Because she says that the last time, you know, there was a guide with some tourists, so they were starting, you know.
Well, here we are, day 6. You can see the facilities have deteriorated, and the crowd's looking a little shabby. Just spent a night in the peasant beds.
Oh, yeah. You probably are being fair, though. But Caitlin probably wouldn't. She's a rugged person.
Nice sunny morning.
She's rugged, yeah.
Just did the wash.
She's rugged.
See, the cool thing is you must be a great parent because your children are developing.
The natives are stirring.
From the get-go. From in the womb.
Yeah, from the time Bonnie was 12, she decided she was the mother.
Oh, okay.
Been a good time.
Still no rain. Today we go to the mausoleum. Lake of the Condors.
Well, I've got one kid. And was it a couple years ago, when I started skiing again, she saw some pictures of me on the slope. She said, you cannot look like that. She got a beautiful skin.
Give us a few words this morning, Richard.
It's a fine day here in the Andes, and aside from the Perritos and the Gallo, who is a very industrious Gallo that woke us every 30 minutes from 2 o'clock on.
He's talking about the goddamn rooster.
I'm talking about the goddamn rooster. It's been a wonderful night. It is absolutely beautiful up here, fantastico. You couldn't see this any other way except taking a short horse ride. Of course, Larry took us on a 9-hour horse ride, but we
It was
loved
10 and a half, but who counted?
But it's really great, and the facilities are quite adequate. I slept well. First time I ever slept on a straw mattress without any cover, but it was good. I apologize for my hair, but hey, this isn't far off the mean for today.
He does a double take and looks up and says,
How's Rita this morning?
I'm happy, I'm fabulous, I'm well rested. I've got
but that's a weird moment.
That's nice. That's nice. That's so nice. That's so cool.
Nice machete.
Love it.
Oh, Mike just cut my hair.
How's Ron this morning?
Hey, I am so good I just can't stand it. So I'm sitting on it.
You didn't realize you were getting like a comedy show thrown into the whole thing, but yes.
Do a dance, Jennifer. Do a dance.
Jennifer, do us a jig.
Yeah.
Like
well,
Balderly.
She's ready.
I am ready.
Show me the
Like
mountain. Show me the mountain.
Awesome thing. It's really cool.
You want to have the appearance.
That's about it, huh?
Look,
Well, you know, you can't put it into words like there are no words to describe. It's like you could take a camera and you could take segments of it, or you can try to describe it, but nothing is going to do it. And that's why you have to be here in person. That's the great thing about being here. You can't encapsulate it in any form that someone else could appreciate.
She talks a lot for being lost for words.
I'm talking to a lot over here. How did Deborah put it? She says, I am a National Geographic.
How's the Mikey today?
Mikey's surviving. Barely.
Wait a minute, you're changing outfits.
It was a horse ride that I'll never forget.
So the horse will never forget it either, huh?
We went up trails that I didn't think that horses could navigate, and they navigated it with me on them. Unbelievable.
That's good, Lee. You just did your laundry.
So here we have it. Day 6. Breakfast in the Andes.
Wow.
These are fat pancakes.
Fat pancakes.
Tea.
Tea.
Got lots of tea.
Goat
Ran out of
tea.
cocoa tea already.
Instant coffee.
Cheese.
Cheese.
Oh, this is fresh cheese that they made from their cows.
Yes.
That is a good thing.
Everybody speak up.
Who speaks?
We do. We want some. She thinks she has Europeans on her hands, and I said, we have to come up informal.
Oh, why?
And we're in this very modest structure. Out of the wind and rain. You can see the hallway down to our rooms. And this is the fabulous kitchen where all good things come from. See, the boys are very busy with the open fires. The thing is muy bueno. They're making our lunch. Nice, nice. Outside the kitchen, staff is having a staff meeting.
There you go. It's coming down.
Oh, good.
Hola! Here we are, day 6. Got our packs on, getting ready to head to the mausoleum. Had our huevos, got our sunscreen on.
Man, he likes that corn. It goes down whole.
So here we are finally.
Aracela.
Lagunas de Condors, day 6.
Inga, we're going to be right here with this in the background.
Here.
John?
So hike to the top of the hill, right behind our humble abode. You can hear all the chickens in the background.
It's almost ready. Is it ready?
It's all ready to go. Okay, guys, get in here.
Where's John? Pass me all the cameras you will need.
And there you see, right down below us, our humble abode. And in the distance, the valley that we came down.
There we go. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Swiss brown. The ones that previous, the white ones.
These are Swiss cows?
Brown Swiss.
Brown Swiss. Well, we're up here on the hill with the Brown Swiss band. They're singing the blues.
As if anybody can sing the blues out here.
Ah, really, you're so right.
Well, here we are. We made it down to the bottom of Lagunas de Condors. Headed on our way to the ruins. Here we are in the jungle at Lake of the Condors. As you can see, it's very lush. Typical rainforests, very marshy. Well, here they come, the gringos.
Let me get out of your way. You can see him come across.
We're going to test them right now. We're going to test the gringos' balance. They're coming across the logged water. And of course they're traveling like they've never walked on Earth before. They think they've arrived on the moon. And of course they're mostly doing the wrong thing. They're all looking down rather than in front of them.
Until I take a swim, and then I'm not too happy.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Here we go. Well, when she's like a horse.
We've now moved to the far side of the lake. We're in a bamboo jungle.
Yes, look at the bamboo leaf.
Here in this tree, you can see some of the jungle fauna growing, flowering, living on parts of the tree. Very, very riparian. Very overgrown here. Right here on the edge of the lake. Oh, I hear the monkeys coming.
Hey!
Hey, cheetah!
How are you?
You see them over there?
Here we are, ascending through the jungle. Approximately
Oh, no, I'm used to it.
600 feet, up to 10,000 feet. We're headed towards the mausoleum. The air is thin. As you can see, the jungle is thick. You can hear a waterfall in the background.
The horses really had a hard time getting up this one.
And we're going to ascend through the jungle, up through these steps, hand and knees, on ladders, till we reach the big kahuna. As you can see, Jennifer's coming up one of a series of ladders. Down below, you can see we just ascended another 100 feet on these wooden ladders up the side of the cliff. The air's gotten a little thin. We're back up to 9,500. Out through the jungle, you can see the lake. Here comes a couple more hombres.
Hi there!
Smile, hombre. Is this cool or what?
Are you going to sell this to National Geographic?
Stupid old gringos pay for this shit. Now we're on the trail approaching the main mausoleum. You can see the platform off the side of the cliff. Well, there you have it. The big payoff. The full mausoleum. Say a few words, Jennifer.
Do you see there's a, Larry, if you come up here, there's a skull right in the window. You're on the edge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See it?
I got him.
Awesome!
Thank you.
Ow!
So here we have it. And you can see the relief in the top of the building. More paintings up top. Before me I have mummy wrappings and bones.
Oh my.
Where's the skull? Where's the skull? Yeah, there's the skull in the window right here.
Oh.
Over here on the ground I have another facial skull.
Look at the petroglyphs.
I have more human remains.
Yeah, look at these petroglyphs.
I have a carving.
Right here too, Lee.
Yeah.
Here, up there, there.
Oh.
I have a human skull here in the doorway window.
Collapsed down. And a buried mummies here.
And I have a mummy wrapping.
Oh, Ron had a mummy wrap.
A full-blown mummy wrapping in the other doorway.
Look at the skull.
And here's the window we saw from across.
Larry, did you see inside? There's a pictograph right through there.
We have a full-blown guy flipping me the bird. That's the inside of the mausoleum. There's another pictograph on the back. I have more pictographs up on the higher elevations, up above. We're moving into another building that looks like it has a change of time. The structure is built differently. Once again, the inside of the mausoleum. Some more paintings that are faded.
There isn't a rock
Yeah, keep going around. Keep going around.
We have an antler in the side of the wall.
Down too low.
No, I don't think so. Then you get a good view of it.
I want a rock. Okay.
Protruding little shelves.
It's not what you think.
Oh, well then get where you want.
Here we are at the top of the mausoleum, looking down on the lake. In Phoenix, this lot would be about $4 million US dollars.
Yeah, at least.
A fixer-upper, though.
Even as a fixer-upper, $4 million bucks.
Yeah, see the little wood
You
pieces
need to have an
here
exorcist.
behind it. Right.
Yeah.
Had a
Yeah,
carved
yeah.
one, there's some
Oh,
over
yeah,
there
and
that
there's
cut-
another
see the-
carving.
Yeah, well, I think that was structural rather than decorative.
The two holes.
Yeah, I think that's
Once again, I'm standing below the platform where the sarcophagi were.
I didn't even hear that many at dusk last night.
Here we have day 6 coming out of the ruin, coming across a really wet, slippery ledge, down a ladder. This is the entrance into the ruin. You got Big Mikey being led across by our guide. Here you see one of the jungle ladders, one of the many jungle ladders that we use to ascend our way up to the mausoleum. And then we have a couple people beginning to start down. As you can see, we've descended down. Here's some ropes in front of us for assisting the descent through this section. And you can see the boys are still on the primitively made ladder. From this rope, through the dense forest, you find we're continuing down several more ladders, each getting more intense. At this point you can see a series of ladders in the jungle with ladders cast to the side that are broken and gone out of use. You can also see a rope that's strung along the side just in case the rung were to let loose. You'd have something to grab onto. These ladders definitely do not meet OSHA. You can see the guys descending down the ladders. Going in front of them is our resident movie star of the Discovery Channel. Here's a few more trekking their way on down. And below me, you can see them hiking up out of the jungle. And over at the other side of the lake, we come down the hill from the ranch, off on a lower ridge. The whole ridge is full of a ruined Chachapoyan city. Houses round, houses square, all in decay. Hard to make out, but they're all here.
More rustic than any Chachapoyan, standard place.
They didn't want me to do that.
I'm still in the ruins down below near the ranch house, and I have right in front of me this entryway into a very large structure that has a couple of reliefs. So this was a very significant building.
Let me move some of the grass out of the way so you can see the bottom one better.
Why don't you move over there, Rita, so I can get some perspective. Now you can see Rita. You see how large the stone is. She's digging it out. These are very, very old ruins here.
Oh, the top one looks like a monkey. Are they the same? Yeah, they're similar. That one's leaning over this way and this one.
You can see Deborah up on the hill there photographing us. Well, here it is, day 7. Having our final breakfast in the dining room.
This could be the final breakfast.
It's kind of a lean-to off the barn that we sleep in. They're not looking too shabby for being shabby.
We're looking pretty shabby for not being shabby.
Tell us about it, Ellen.
That's all I've got to say.
I had some of that too.
Oh, Jesus.
Man, you gotta...
Milk on my shirt.
It will be a
Oh, you got your shirt dirty?
It's only the 5th day I've worn the darn thing.
Oh, good.
Oh, no. Don't
We're
worry.
getting used to that shirt.
Yeah, we're getting used to that shirt.
It stinks. Oh, Larry, tell them about the best yogurt in the world.
You tell them about the best
This is
yogurt
the
in the world.
best yogurt in the world. See, a little bit chunky, but so good.
It's got to be chunky to be good. Tell them about it, Mikey. Nice hat.
It is great yogurt.
It is the only yogurt.
They can sell this stuff anywhere. It's great.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Breakfast is great. People are so fun.
What about you, Johnny?
See,
That's
everything's
it.
been
Huh?
great. Absolutely great. Absolutely great.
The chicken's like the milk,
The
Larry.
two-holer could be improved, but
We're having fried organic eggs from the chicken.
yeah.
We're having homemade cheese, fresh 2-day-old bread. And we're having a wonderful breakfast. Tea. That's great.
Hot milk,
Hot milk right from the cow.
fresh hot milk, sugar, and coffee.
I think Deborah's auditioning for the Martha Stewart show.
I'm going to be on The Apprentice.
Yeah. She's gonna come down here and organize, right?
Oh, we need to.
Martha Stewart Peru version.
Yes.
I will say we had the campfire last night. We needed Larry very, very badly.
Oh,
Yeah, we cried for him.
Oh, we should have brought the group to Larry.
Yeah, singing coming down the mountain and then translating was not, it was embarrassing.
It kind of sounded like dying dogs.
What I did, we might not have been melodic, but we were loud.
Yes, you were.
And no alcohol was involved.
Oh, that's a scary part. Would you like to say something this morning on day 7?
Buenos dias. Another great day. We're hoping for no rain, but we're ready for rain.
Great. That's it.
So on horseback we came through the jungle and across the farmlands, 9 hours back into beautiful Lamibamba. After a night's sleep in a real bed, well, okay, a semi-real bed, and definitely a semi-real shower, we began our next day's adventure with a day in town, starting with a visit to a local backstrap weaver.
Get, you know, the, what can I call it, please?
We have the weaver's loom.
I'm in the way here. I'm in the middle of her weaving.
I'll have to get a job, different stuff.
So she just marries them together.
¿Y qué es lo que vas a tejer acá, supuestamente? O sea,
Supuestamente una faja.
So supposedly, what she pretend, you know, to start weaving is a kumpi. Kumpi is the bell. It's very, very, you know, decorated stuff that you saw long. Yeah. That's the reason of the loan.
Why so long?
Oh, because it will be a belt.
I know, but isn't
Yeah.
there a belt 40 feet long?
Amiga,
Did you see
cuando haces el kumpi,
They
si lo tejes larguito para después cortarlo, ¿no es cierto? Because they will cut, so they will get a lot of more than 2 pieces.
Mass production.
In the
Yeah,
store,
that's production. That's not.
in the store, they were selling
Unit
the
change.
narrow textiles by the meter.
This is how they begin their weaving
They make
process.
things.
Now she's weaving the different colors back in.
That's the same color, you know, horse, may I say, rope arrangement that they will keep, that she will keep when they chain all this set, you know, to the back strap loom.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could.
take it with you.
You guys need a day job.
Yeah, for people, you know, that being in Mexico probably is not
Sí.
new.
Or Central America.
Yeah.
Ahí también un cruzado.
Acá está el otro cruzado.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta make it tight.
And it lifts it up too.
Yeah. John.
Right. Now here's where she gets the thread through. See, she's now, this is a bolt of thread. Yep. Yep. That's the red that she's doing. She probably has a green also, and those are bolts that form the cross.
Esto es tu cruzado. Sí. Yeah, that's the proper, crossing.
Yep.
Acá está.
Yep.
Yeah. Ajá. Y este que es el responsable. So this is it, that is responsible for the first crossing. ¿Cuál es el nombre de este? ¿Cómo le llamas a este? Socope. Oh yeah, she said
Nosotros
that,
queremos que tengan las jóvenes.
Yeah, she said that there is no requirement. They're not talking on kids. You can be single, you can be already, married, you can have partners or
Do they
not.
have any male weavers?
Men?
Men, hombres?
No.
No,
For sure not.
For sure no. That is not within the culture.
Mira, no hay, yeah,
Are the
that's
Navajos
breaking.
all
That would
women
be-
too?
That
Or
would
the
be
men?
the break the
No
culture.
men.
Hombres no, ¿no?
No, por eso.
Oh, pero así, pero
Pero
el teje
no
para
era-
darle tu parte.
The next part of our day took us to Lamy Bamba's museum. In 1997, when the Lake of the Condor tombs were discovered, they were immediately ransacked. They hacked open all the mummy bundles in a feverish search for gold and other precious metals. In July of 1997, thanks to the efforts of archaeologist Adriana van Hagen and anthropologist Sonia Guyen, the Laguna de los Condors was legally declared an emergency zone, off limits to all but authorized researchers. Adriana and Sonia also secured permission to salvage the mummies and excavate the chupas, which were the tombs, with the financial assistance from the Discovery Channel, who then documented the removal of the mummies and all of the artifacts and offerings. The ceramics that were discovered there were just beautiful. Weavings, chupas, a lot of offerings, an enormous amount of antiquities came out of this area, and now they are all housed and stored at the museum in Lamy Bamba.
Some other utensils. Here's a couple of recording knot strings that were taken out of the ruin. And the one major textile that we saw in the movie. Other textiles and ornamentations. Now moving into the main room, you see several sarcophagi, caskets that were taken out of the ruin.
Oh, the mummification
I don't know if
process
this is going to come out when I'm shooting into the humidity controlled room that has all the mummies that were taken out. So I'm at the other doorway. The entire room is full of mummies. They're still wrapped They've been cleaned up. Okay, I'm back shooting some more of the mummies here.
That's the
You'll see one right in front of me.
side of
A
Chalupas.
couple of children, and then one that's bundled in this very ornate cloth.
Laguna. Yeah, here it is.
Ah, sí, sí.
Yeah. We were there.
Then you got the star of the Discovery Channel
Those are the
with the good teeth.
That is cool.
And as you recall, he had an extended earlobe, and he also had a swatch of hair.
English,
That'd be the guy.
Very cool. Yep. Yep.
Here's a very important ceremonial headdress, or possibly a headdress of a very important person. It was found in the burial site. You can see it's exotic bird feathers.
The next morning we left Lemibamba and headed to discover Cuelap. Cuelap is usually described as a fortress, although citadel would be a more apt description. The nucleus of the site is about 700 yards long and covers about 15 acres. It's surrounded by a massive perimeter wall with 3 narrow shaft-like entrances. One flank of the citadel stretches along the rim of a very steep cliff. These little crevices, these narrow shaft-like entrances were highly defendable. A lot of Cuelap is being restored right now, as it's crumbled over the centuries. The shaft-like entrances are also under reconstruction, but were so highly defendable, you can only imagine warriors at the top pelleting stones like missiles down to their enemy. You can see how dwarfed Jennifer looks in the huge crevice. Here is the main entranceway to Cuelap. This has all been recently excavated through centuries of growth. You can see how highly defensible it would be. Inside the perimeter walls are ruins of over 400 stone buildings, presumably dwellings, almost all circular, ranging from about 10 to 30 feet in diameter. Most of the buildings have long since collapsed or been demolished down to their foundations, but a few remain standing about as high as 12 feet. Assuming they were originally capped with a conical thatched roofs, they would have reached a pretty impressive height. But who built Cuelap and why? Well, we asked ourselves that at Machu Picchu. The answers really are just mere speculation. Cuelap was thought to be occupied from around AD 800 to the year 1500, perhaps to defend themselves against the expansion of the Wari cultural empire. But as time went by and the 17th century came, Cuelap, like Machu Picchu, had just simply disappeared from the consciousness of everyone except the few families who continued to live in the immediate vicinity and took it for granted. How they built Cuelap, precisely fitting 2 and 3 ton stones, we do not know. We can only speculate.
Here we are up on the upper level. You can see the next wall. It's not as high, maybe 22 feet. In much better condition than the lower wall. We're going to move into the next entryway to the upper tier.
Yeah, so as long as Mikey brought food, everybody else is fine. Yeah, and I've got extra backpack.
Now the girls are going up into the next slot.
I'm taking a picture first.
Rita's
In case
taking
I
a
don't
picture
make it.
first, in case she runs out of gas.
Okay.
This would be the next entry that you'd pass through into the next level of the city. Our horses were a lot better at this than we were. You can see the slot narrows, very defensible. Throw some boulders off on your enemy, and they just pile up like dead ducks. And back to the slot, the entrance that we came up.
Let's see if I can catch somebody coming up over the fender fence.
Rita's got a stone in her hand and she's going to whack the first sucker coming through.
There is none, but we're ready.
Smile, sweetheart. Say something in Chachapoyan.
Chicha.
Up on the upper level, looking down at the Keyway entrance, some of our group, some of the round houses. Won't be able to film much longer, there's a storm moving in. You can probably hear the wind. You can get a better view of some of the round structures that were the houses of Quilap. In front of me is one of the better preserved structures, homes up here. As I come around through the landscape, you can see how this level's all grown back up. Until we reach the wall of the upper level. Partially intact, partially reconstructed. Some of them we can still see the reliefs on. These two are side by side with two different styled reliefs. And we have one that they put the thatching on in total reconstruction, simulating what they should have looked like. I'm inside the replica. You can see that the roof is lashed down to the protruding stones. This has all been reconstructed. You can see the metate and work area in the ledge area. Wave to me, Inga. Show us how you prepare the meal in the big hut.
Oh, I got it grinded. How about if I sit down?
Yes.
And do it?
Tell us in Chachapoyan.
Oops. Comfy chair.
That should give you some perspective of the size of this place.
This is how they hold the roof on, with ropes. Rocks sticking out.
The south end of the complex, we have our travelers
The Southern Travelers.
The Southern Travelers. Say hi, Ma.
Hi, Ma. Chicha.
Chicha!
Chicha, Mama.
Are we having fun?
Oh, yeah, we're having fun.
You want to take another 12-mile hike?
No. 12-mile horseback ride.
The back streets are all lined with animals that all these people came in on today. Here we are at the vegetable market. Day 10. Really busy. Well, here we are in the market. It's either a meat market area or everybody's getting ready to have burritos. We seem to be the only gringos in town. Clint would have liked it that way. Now the gringos are out in the livestock area. Everything's for sale. Lots of livestock. Well, there you got it. It's the bull tying tree. All the bulls have turned out. I don't think the tree likes it much. Neither do the bulls. Day 10. We're in the big town of Levanto. Of course, you're seeing the square. All these little towns have a square. And always some part of the square you have the church.
But you know what? I would not have liked walking around in that pepper brush in my feet, so I think I better.
It would appear the church is under some kind of construction. They put a new steeple on it. And here we have the Levanto Lodge. 2 circular huts. Very different. Here we are in the Levanto Dinette Lodge Flop House. You can see the characters here are, the characters are really characters.
Yeah. Go to the kitchen and check out the draft. Okay, so never
Here you can see we've got a fireplace right here in the middle, and on top of it sits a hot water heater that doesn't have any water.
It's not just your sunshine.
And here we have the kitchen. This is where it's all happening.
How each one interacts with one another. It's quite complicated. I'm sure.
If I find a boyfriend,
And I think we have over here a Peruvian movie star. Can I have a toast to the Levanto Lodge?
Oh yeah, drink to that. Mikey,
to you until we meet
again. Happy trails to you.
I'm going to use up your battery.
I got another hour and a half. Keep singing.
I would have taken a ton of pictures of this motley.
Nobody can escape this one.
This is the motley of the motleys.
Day 11, we're in the canyon of the sarcophagi. We've entered this really steep canyon. You can hear the water down below. It's really immense.
They had little waterfalls earlier.
Look at that trail. Oh, that's mountain trail. I mean, that's
Here we are,
Lo que tú tienes.
up on top of the world.
Muéstrale la energía, muéstrales la belleza de lo que tenemos acá nosotros.
We've
La
hiked
cultura
up
de
to the
los chihuahuas.
mausoleum.
Te voy a pagar con estas flores para que florezcan nuestros caminos. Te pago, Pachamama, para los espíritus.
Our guide's giving a little saying to Puchimama
Allá está.
to make it okay to enter the tomb. You see the sarcophagi off on the ledge?
See? Okay, this is to the spirits that are here, and I hope you continue to rest in peace.
Exactly.
All intact.
All into los espíritus.
Way, way awesome.
Nuevo mundo. Aquí, José. Sí, ¿no? Aquí, a Pachamama. Pachamama. Ah, sí. Ya, ya.
We're in a cave
There's skulls over here.
up in the tomb, and in front of you,
Fire,
you can see there's two skulls wedged in the rock.
That's a bone right there.
No, adentro.
Back here, huh? Oh, yes.
Yes, here we are, just below the burial tombs. You can see them right in front of me, the sarcophagi intact, right above me. And below me, one of the tombs that's worn away. And off to my right, you can see the paintings that were put here in this tomb. The oxides, red, black, and yellow.
And then right here, these striations of color.
Jose has hidden some ceramics under the bush. He's pulled them out for us to see. Very nice ceramics. Woo! Thank you, Jose. Es muy bueno. Gracias. Day 11, Kaujara. You see up on the cliff face, the most famous 4 sarcophagi, 6 sarcophagi, the one with the skull heads. Right before me. You can see several others in the wall.
Hey Lee, these have real skulls coming out the top. Some of them have human skulls off the top.
They do. That is impressive. Yes? Can you get your zoom, Deborah? Yeah.
Do you want, to start climbing? We don't have so much time to, to take the tourists to see all the ice pachaka.
She said there's one intact. Wait, which It's north.
There's 4. Finally we have one more up on the hillside. He's totally intact, sitting in an alcove. Here's a stack of remains that have been picked up at the site and left on this rock. You can see all kinds of different human bones. Well, it's been 11 days. We've been hiking and hiking and hiking, and finally, I think I wore these guys down.
They're trying to support the local economy.
Ron and John bowed down and rented burros to take them back up to the top. Of course, the little girls that rented them to her are walking. So here we have the ultimate in American gringos.
No, we have capitalism at work. And the girls are running the company.
How many soles?
5 each. Perfecto.
Perfecto.
And that's a hell of a lot better than a lemonade stand.
Well, and as they ride off into the sunset, adios, amigo. Adios. The end. Museum at the little town after visiting the mausoleum.
That's cool. Your picture.
Guess where these came from?
Stand back, Johnny.
That's a real size. And that's the false heads that you saw
We
so
have
much.
a table full of artifacts taken.
So it's it will get some
And a
light.
sarcophagus head.
We'll see the colors over here.
A second
Red
one
and it's ochre tones.
with a skull.
Yeah.
We have some rope.
Oh, this is cabuya.
Yeah,
Or totora, you know, rope.
Day 12. Tuwaka. Dirt piles in the desert.
No, they're not dirt piles. They're actually like pyramids.
They're actually like pyramid dirt piles.
No, they're like pyramids. The construction actually began around 1200 AD and continued after the Chingu and Inca conquest. Archaeologists recorded at least 7 superimposed buildings and occupational stages. On the summit, archaeologists found areas dedicated to food preparation, as well as garbage dumps, of course, storerooms, patios, and enclosures, decorated with reliefs and murals used by the nobility as residences.
Is that it? There's the trail we'll be taking to the top. Taking a panoramic of it, you can see other buildings being excavated. Pyramids, smaller buildings. You can see the top of this next one, how they're working it in sections. Both of the far ones are being worked in sections. They put a cover over a far pyramid. Obviously been working it during the hot months. Of the pyramids inside buildings. You can see our group on the walkway down below and see the excavation of the really large complex out in the distance. Last day, Chiclayo Airport. I think they're ready to go home. They've had enough of this shit. Say if you, are you ready to go home?
Ready to
Way
go.
ready.
Way
Get
ready.
cooled off.
You cooled off.
Yeah, going to Maine, baby.
Yeah.
You ready to go home?
We are ready. We're ready.
We're ready.
Wait, I'm not ready.
I could stay longer. Can we take the horses home?
Well, we finished our trip in Lima, celebrating with a great dinner. Real civilization. It was exciting. It was really an adventure, wasn't it? It was great. Well, there's a saying that I just love, and it is, "The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page."